It's a lot more.
Walking on the road, these houses, on two sides of the stadium, there's residential houses. East side and west side, industrial development, hotels, and the other side was their practices.
Let's call the meeting to order tonight. Greetings to everybody. Can we stand just for a moment of silence, if you would? The Pledge of Allegiance. Anybody here to lead us tonight? No?
Volunteer. He's like, I'm okay.
Let's get it started. Then we'll come in quickly.
Pledge allegiance of the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Volunteerism turned into drafting, huh? I see. All right. Mr. Williams is out today. I am present. Mr. Heater.
Present.
Dr. Bales. Mrs. Barnes-Griffin. Mr. Irvin.
Present.
Mr. Lowe.
Present.
All right, wonderful. All right, Mr. Raiders, are you ready? All right.
So thank you for the opportunity to speak about our school, our community, our students, staff, parents, all the constituencies that make up Southside Middle School. You see our theme for the year on this first slide. We are relentlessly, which is one of Mr. Kraft's favorite words, we are relentlessly pursuing excellence and continuous improvement. This is hard, challenging work, and we've made a lot of positive changes, and we continue to do so on a daily basis. We assess at the end of each 9 weeks, and we certainly appreciate the board's and the central office administration support for our efforts to make positive change. We know that we have earned a reputation that is challenging on the academic side. Our numbers are not where we would like them to be in regard to our testing results. I will tell you, I stood in front of our student body last year and staff at the end of the year, and we were pleased with the overall effort we made on iLearn. We were not pleased with these numbers, and we established that that's going to be, we hope, the base level, the ground floor, and we're going to build from there. We do that through coaching and fundamentals. Take, for example, our math department. Our math department really focused in on our power standards and really the need, as you can see there, to raise those numbers. We're focusing on utilizing our staffing in as strategic a way as possible and have made change, like I mentioned earlier, accordingly. We are trying to close the gap, and I'll talk more about that. It is tough, hard work. Our students are behind, and we have state standards we have to meet. So there's a gap there, and like I said, I'll talk more about that. We want you to be confident in the many initiatives that we have implemented over the past year and those that we have moving forward in both the near and long term, and knowing that those are student-centered and learning-focused. That's a phrase I believe I used last year at this time, at least the last time I presented to the board, but also certainly an approach that we have is to be student-centered and learning-focused. We're also far more than numbers, and we've got students here to represent the student body tonight that demonstrate all of the different many activities that our students are engaged in, including, and it's not on the list, in fact there's a blank there, for this, but including blanket makers. So those blankets that you have were made by our students. It was an outside-of-the-box way to teach measurements and some practical hands-on learning. And I hope not only that you appreciate those from our kids, but also recognize the learning that took place and the hands-on experience helped them to learn math a little bit more. All educational research, as you know, shows that those that are engaged in school life outside of the classroom are much more likely to be successful in it. And so we have grown those opportunities and continue to do so. We've had 2 new clubs announced this week. And so again, to represent the student body, I'll have our 4 students come up. Come on up. And then Jordan's going to go first. He's representing the 6th grade. We have 2 representing the 7th grade and a young lady representing the 8th grade. They're going to introduce themselves and tell you in some ways why I've invited them to speak on behalf of our Panthers.
My name is Jordan Kelly. I am a 6th grader at SMS. I am on the robotics team, and I help turn our pink baseball dugouts back to Southside red. My favorite part about being a Panther is being included in the spirit of the school and how we are getting better with English class.
My name is Elena Gonteman. I am a 7th grader at SMS. I am involved with Principal's Advisory Council, choir, drama club, and the school play. My favorite part about being a Panther is being able to make an impact on the school. I like how we're getting better at decreasing fighting and increasing incentives.
Hello, my name is Maziel Oriana Lobos. I am a 7th grader at SMS, and I play the trumpet and in the band. I am in gardening club, and my favorite part about being a Panther at SMS is being involved in the fun activities and just in general how to be involved in the Panther family. And I like how we're getting better at controlling the bad behaviors and just increasing the good ones.
Hello, my name is Rihanna Welch. I'm an 8th grader at Southside Middle School, and I'm involved with art club, and my favorite class is math. My favorite part about being a Panther is learning new things every day, and I like how we are getting better at helping students with behavior and anger issues.
So thank you and please recognize that while they followed a template, they wrote those themselves. And again, I think it's important to see our kids as we do, as human beings trying to navigate a lot of challenges in today's world, some of those that we're about to talk about. So at SMS, again, we are relentlessly pursuing excellence and continuous improvement. And I use that image there as a bridge. Again, we've got to build bridges to our learning gap. Our students are behind. We know that. And if you recognize that if you take the average 7th grader in American educational history, that average is about here. In today's America, that's about here. There's a gap called the COVID learning gap. Well, our students are even further behind. And so what we've got to do is we've got to build that gap, and at the same time, there are standards, state standards that those 7th graders still have to meet. So if they're reading at a 3rd grade level and yet have to meet 7th grade standards, that's difficult on a daily basis in the classroom. And it leads to frustrations and behaviors that you heard the students talk about that get frustrating to those who are trying to do really well. We joke, and it's not really funny, but we joke at times that while we are the Panthers of Southside Middle School, we also could be called the Dodgers, because we've got a lot of students who are not resilient enough to want to compete to build that bridge. And so they dodge class, or they dodge the learning environment, and again, that leads to behaviors that become challenges for all of us. We have 3 goals that are posted across the building. I won't bother reading all of those to you. I will say that to give you a bit of progress on one of them, the reduction of students with over 16 referrals by 50%. Last year we had a minimum, and when I say minimum, it's because we had some data challenges throughout the year, but we had a minimum of 88 students. So to reduce that by 50%, You math majors can figure that out. That means we need to be at 44 by the end of the year. We're at 10 right now at the end of the first 9 weeks, so the good news is that seems to be progress, or at least on track. The not as good news is that's 10 more than what we'd want, and we are, again, always continuously trying to get better at that. Without question, the number one area in our school that's a challenge is during passing periods. A lot of challenges on the behavioral side that lead to, I would guess, 75–80% of our referrals are somehow tied back to the passing period. And so we've got ideas for how to minimize our students' time in passing periods, and we'll bring some of those forward as we develop them further. We really emphasize positive relationships in our building. And this graphic is to demonstrate that you would think, as dry as that land is, when that rain comes in, it's going to really help any crops that might be built in there. But the fact of the matter is, the first rain that comes in there, that's going to just wash right away, because that ground is so hardened that it can't really soak in. That's kind of like our kids as it relates to positivity. Again, they're behind and they are so frustrated with that the first kind of round of positivity, it kind of flowed right off of them. And so we've got to nurture that land by being constantly positive, watering it with constant positivity to make that ground more fertile. And again, we've got a staff and a faculty and even volunteers, as we're about to talk about, who do that. Again, engaging students are the most successful. Doesn't matter who their connection is with, having a positive influence in their world is important. It can't just be this teacher, it can't just be the administrators. Again, we've got a family approach. I've highlighted the Panther Patrol. That's a development that we had since last time I was here. And those are volunteers from the community that said, how can we help? And they are some pretty heavy hitters. Some of them are here tonight, and thank you, if you guys will wave. Thank you for being here and being supportive. They do an unbelievable job of not only being a presence in our hallways and helping us guide students to class and limit the dodging, but also developing very positive relationships. And they are all in kinds of people, like we are. They're developing a mentoring program affiliated with Ivy Tech. And so our students are the beneficiaries of that, and they have clearly had a positive impact on our school. And again, I can't thank them enough. From a disciplinary perspective, again, we need our students to have consequences. We need to be disciplined. We all understand that, but again, kind of pounding it at the consequential side isn't going to get it done. It's got to be a united positive front. Nothing but positivity as much as we possibly can. So we have conversational discipline, and the key to us and our success is on our how we go about our business, how we discipline, how we converse with that. And Mr. Kraft, Mr. McCracken are exceptional at that, and I'm proud of that team that's pictured there. It is a passionate, resilient, spirited group that really has a family feel, and it is indeed all about continuous improvement, not only for our students, but each of us recognizing we can and need to continue to get better at what we do. All kinds of elements related there to our success in academics. I highlighted the success, our success period. We've really, one of the fundamental changes to this year is pouring a lot of our time and effort into success period. So in that, the design of that now is teachers engaging with the students in their class on an individual basis to look at their data. Here's where you are as an iReady student. No judgment on that, just here's the baseline and how are we going to build from there. Establishing goals, establishing, again, a positive relationship, and having continual kind of rinse and repeat discussions with those leaders. So like I said, that's kind of a snapshot of where we are now. We also have a vision for the future of SMS. Again, a positive culture. We've changed our alternative program into an alternative classroom experience, ACE, alternative classroom experience, that allows those students who are not succeeding in the regular classroom environment an opportunity to succeed in a new and different environment. It's kind of more of a school within a school, but it's not alternative school because it is at Southside in our building, our kids. And as I was preparing for tonight, I do remember Pastor O'Neill asked me I think it was February when I was here, please come back and tell me what you need. And a lot of it has come to you through our central office administration and the ideas and the needs that we've had. But I would add one more kind of for all of us, and in some ways it's a challenge. You can tell by me as the former coach that I am, I like to challenge. We need help on the positivity side from each of you. Again, we recognize, and we deal with it all the time, the reputation of Southside Middle School, but I hope you see through this and through the eyes of our kids, our students, we have some positive things going on in our building, and we need help from everybody in here to get that word out. That helps us on, for example, hiring practices. That helps us with substitute teachers. Again, we've got a number of challenges that we can trace back to subs in the building that are great, and we love having them in there. We need more and more who recognize the positive sides. And most of those who come in have a positive experience. So to answer one of your questions, or your question, Pastor O'Neill, please more positivity about the things we've got going at our school because our kids need and deserve that. I think I did mention this last time. This is not a turnaround immediate venture. We're trying to steer a cruise ship and make that kind of a turn. This is not a zero-turn mower operation. But we analyze the data all the time to see how we're doing, engage with our students all the time to see how we're doing. You heard each of them, and again, they wrote their own answers to the template on the elements that they see that we're getting better at. So this is not an overnight venture, but we are getting better and are proud of it. So thank you for the support that you've given us already, and I'll take any questions now at this time.
I do have a question.
Yes,
Thank
please.
you for the blankets. Wonderful. Thank you to the students who produced
You can
these.
thank Mrs. Houston who organized that. That'll come as a shock to all of you. And actually, Jordan will take that back to his colleagues who helped to make them because he was one of the blanket makers.
Perfect.
He can
perfect.
lead a pledge, he can give a speech, he can sew blankets. He's a pretty neat kid.
My question goes to the absenteeism,
Mm-hmm.
of course. Has that been on steady increase? I guess it is, 17%, 18%, or has it always fluctuated at that range? What are we doing to incentivize the students as opposed to maybe penalize?
Yeah.
What a burden on the teachers who have to adjust because those students aren't showing up for classes and they're still trying to teach the other students. So
Yeah.
A lot of questions in there, but.
That's okay. I would say I would try to drill down to the
Okay.
following elements. One, absenteeism in regard to coming to school in general. We have struggled. It goes in some ways back to my point about the positivity need that we have. We've struggled to fill staffing. We've been short-staffed. Had a conversation with our faculty in professional development today, and they said, why haven't phone calls gone out to every parent when a student's not here? And that, well, we haven't had the ability to do that all the time because of staffing needs, and we've got to juggle what are our priorities at the beginning of a day, and sometimes we've got to deal with some stuff in the building. So that the getting to school piece is part of it. The next part is, okay, now we've got them in the building, how do we get them to class, keep them in class? Here again, I will tell you, and Dr. Reynolds and I had a conversation about this when he was in the building, I think it was last week. We're better at that. We have, our halls are much clearer with students in the building. We still have, again, the dodging factor that we've got to continue to work at. And so there is, much like the cruise ship turn, that isn't going to be a real quick fix, but I will say that the efforts that we've made are showing success. We don't have data yet to crunch it. That said, good for all of us. We are more fully staffed, and Mr. Grimm and two officials that frankly we did not have, school officials we did not have Last year at this time in our building, we were slotted to have them, but we didn't have the ability to get to it and hire them. They had a meeting yesterday to talk about that very thing and strategize about that. Great question.
Would I assume it's not a transportation issue? Because there's many different ways the student can get to class. Excuse me, to get to the
Get to school.
The MITS buses, the school buses.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. Okay.
I think in some cases it becomes a transportation
Okay.
issue if they've not caught the bus.
Right. Okay.
To me, and again, this is more anecdotal than it is data, I believe that if our students want to be at school and get up with that approach and convey that to mom and dad, a parent, grandparent, whomever is getting them to school. And again, then we've got to make sure that they have a good, positive experience when they get there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, and you talk about like discipline and academics and incentives to students, what does that look like? And then, other question is, what is that partnership with Ivy Tech in
Yeah.
all that type of discipline academics?
Yep. So the first answer is all kind of a work in progress. So from an incentives perspective, we are much more organized than we used to be in regard to Student of the Month honors. We've got field trips we are now able to have. We will have a no referral field trip that's coming up. We started a Most Improved Student Award. We're better at that. We're not as perfectly organized. You can't see it on a calendar because again we've got sometimes bigger fish to fry to get that done. That said, clearly very, very important, and you heard it from our students' mouths tonight. The hammer and that isn't going to work. It's the incentives, and they like those, and so the more of that, the better we can be. And then the Ivy Tech partnership, we have a mentoring program that is, I don't have data on that because it hasn't fully started. We're going to see where we were kind of at the end of the first 9 weeks. There's been some space challenges as we've juggled some other elements in the building. All that said, imagine 8th graders struggling to stay engaged in the classroom, struggling to see the value of school and so on, engaging with these two guys and some of their colleagues from Ivy Tech with the ability to also take a class that gets them a credit to Ivy Tech. That sort of motivation can do nothing but help our students do better.
What is that? What's that class? What's that mentorship program look like? What do you focus on?
Yeah. Wayne, you want to come and talk about that, please? Thanks.
Focus on the needs of each individual student, wherever they are. So the first part of it is we have a little space to meet the students. Well, I don't need no mic. So we have space to meet with them individually. Right now it's 9 students, 9 young men, I think 3 or 4 young ladies. And just see where they are. How can we help? How can we be a bridge to whatever their success looks like for you? I don't want to tell them like this is what you need to do. I think they get enough of that. From the classroom standpoint, it's a career exploration. So it's really just showing them opportunities through career, having people from the community that went to Southside come and speak to them because they need to know that people have made it out here. Y'all know it, right? So that's the first thing, is just engage with them over. That's our parent control. We just there being the face, and just as a byproduct, it's getting better a lot of weeks. I'm not there every day, so we can see it. We just talked about that today. So meeting them where they are, being a bridge to the success, and being a constant supporter to that success. And the classroom aspect is just a career exploration and seeing the opportunities that are here, Muncie, and around.
So are they self-selected or are they preferred?
Yeah, a little bit of both. And I'll give you an example. A young man just yesterday came to me and said, hey, I'm hearing about this mentorship program, and you've talked with a couple of my peers, and those peers were recommended by the school. How do I get involved in that? The answer was, I just put you into it. And I hope you hear with Wayne a couple really important pieces that relate to our school. One, consistency. They need consistency of people. They need consistency of approach. We are, again, much better at that as a school. And again, I'll refer to what you heard from our students. One of the pieces selfishly that I love about Wayne and Dwayne and others coming into the building is that they can be a new barometer for us. When we're on the front lines every day, it gets frustrating at times. Man, are we really making a difference? They can come in and here's what we're seeing. We're seeing improvement. Again, I refer to, Dr. Reynolds' comments to me. We had master teachers in the building yesterday and had some really positive comments from teachers from other buildings who had not been to Southside in a while and talking about they see and feel a difference. So, that's good and empowering to us to refuel our energy and keep at it.
If I could just add, so Mr. Raiders and his team started that Panther Patrol last year as just folks just being caring adults in the building. I serve on the MAP committee in Muncie with Wayne, and Wayne stopped me one day and said, "Hey, it's just calling on my heart to get into Southside and help out." And then I think he cultivated a team of folks that were as passionate about it, and we've just kind of married these two together, and watching it grow and is just been tremendous. And I'll share. I spent a lot of time at Southside last year, at least 2 days a week. I was over there most of the day. And just to go in now and do visits and walkthroughs and have conversations with these folks, it's a tremendous improvement in that building. You'd be super proud. I would ask that you go over and take a look, do a walkthrough with Mike, with Wayne. Could we introduce some of the other folks
Absolutely.
with Wayne today?
Yep.
Dwayne Clemens, who's former Southside great, Ball State great. And I have Neil Beerman with us, who's our director of recruitment. The tennis great, Bird's great. So it's all men from this community from here that we'll see at the supermarket, Walmart, wherever, and that's the goal for us.
Thank you.
I just have one quick question. I want to just make sure I'm clear about when you talk about positivity and I guess the championing of that. Are you talking about within the building, or are you talking about in the community? How do we? What does that look like?
That's a great question. I would say it is both. It is, a school is a reflection of the community, and we recognize that. And so we recognize that we've got sort of challenges that come into our building every day from the community, and at the same time, if we can change some elements within the school and send those back out with positivity, we will have that. And I'm glad you asked the question primarily for this little factoid. I share with the staff all the time, including today in our meetings. 95% of my conversations with parents of our students has been positive, as in very positive, supportive. Thank you. We're struggling too. We see the gap. How do we build that gap for our kids? We've not faced the sort of challenges before. Maybe we've got older kids. And this is a different realm here. How do we work together to help our students? By working together like that, it makes it a lot easier for our students to succeed. Sure. And so, bringing people, like-minded folks with the same exact approach, student-centered, learning-focused. Again, we can't help but get better. And so this is, what Dr. Reynolds is talking about. Please recognize this is the picture of our staff that, have that in mind. Our assistant principals, our faculty, staff, our parents, our kids who are buying into the efforts that we're making. This is a whole Southside school community to go out and help to positively change Southside overall. And I'll echo one other point that Dr. Reynolds made. This is a bit of a calling for all of us. We have, like I said earlier, we have kids who are behind but deserve, the light that Wayne's shining for them. Here's where you can go. They need to see that, and we want to provide them as many opportunities within reason. There are still consequences at Southside Middle School. Some of them are pretty severe, but that said, that balanced with positivity and a vision forward, our students are figuring that out.
Just one last thing. Sorry, taking up time, but
what kind of forum can be set up, or some way to correlate some of these positive things that we as a board know about it, maybe Andy or others, that we can kind of tell the stories that
Sure.
need to get out? Because I don't know a lot of
Yep.
these things that are going on, so.
Well, for one, I would echo Dr. Reynolds' invitation. Please come in. We can get you a Panther Patrol shirt or a badge or something that lets you be in the hallways and seriously, and see the challenges, see the efforts that we're making. I think that's part of it. Please, come on in and check out the work that we're trying to do. Again, to the parent fair, we've talked many times. I think my guess would be by the end of the year we would have some sort of parent symposium, seminar, work day, something where we can quantify the positivity so that our parents can see the value of that, not only in their own students as they see on a daily basis, but maybe overall. And at the same time, I'll say this, Pastor O'Neill, while we have those ideas, we've not gotten to, sort of the larger scale PR side, if you will, because we've got such, kind of heavy lifting on a daily basis with our students. But,
Sure.
I funnel ideas to Andy and to others, about the Panther Patrol and about some of the other incentives. And we, Deb Houston does a great job of getting positivity out on our Facebook. But, there's always more we can do, and we'll continue to look for opportunities like that.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions from Renee?
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work. Thanks.
Okay, the National African American Recognition Award. Mr. Walker, looks like.
Well, good evening. Good job, Mike. It's hard act to follow, but I'll get out of the way and let Jocelyn come up here and talk for a second. So, members of the, come on, stand right here. All right, let me look at. But members of the board, central office admin team, and community members that are with us tonight, I have the pleasure of recognizing students for earning a national recognition through College Board. College Board, you may know what that is. You may not. You probably heard it. College Board is the organization responsible for the SAT, the PSAT, the National Merit, and for advanced placement exams. They have 4 recognition programs to award academic honors to underrepresented students. Students who take eligible administrations of these exams will be considered for those awards. Our students at Muncie Central who qualified for the national recognition as juniors met the following criteria. They had a cumulative GPA of 3.5 or higher. They had a permanent address here in the United States. They identified as either an African American, Hispanic American, Indigenous, or attended high school in a rural or small town. They must take the PSAT and at least 2 distinct AP exams in either their 9th or 10th grade year. Also, in order for juniors to qualify, they must score in the top 10% on the PSAT by state, or they must score a 3 or higher on 2 or more AP exams. At Muncie Central, we were fortunate enough to have 2 students who met all of the criteria for earning a College Board national recognition. Our first student is McKenna Goodwin, who actually graduated a year early last year as a junior in May, and she's not able to attend this evening. And we also have Jocelyn Roberson, who is a current senior and is also here with her parents. So Jocelyn, congratulations. All right, we can clap for Jocelyn. So on behalf of the faculty and staff at Muncie Central, we congratulate both of these Bearcats for a job well done and wish them the best of luck in their future endeavors. And in speaking of future endeavors, I'm going to invite Jocelyn to come up, let them know a little bit about who you are, what you do at Muncie Central, and what your plans are after graduation. So the floor is all yours.
I wasn't prepared to have a speech ready, but so I'm Jocelyn Roberson. I am a 4-year varsity athlete on the volleyball team, swim team, and I played tennis for the past 2 years. I am part of NHS, Pep Club. I was part of the student athletic leadership team last year. I do lots of stuff around the school. I'm a honors and AP student. As of right now, I plan on attending Ball State next year and getting my actuarial science degree and becoming an actuary and making lots of money.
She was not prepared because I didn't tell her I was going to put her on the spot. Mom, she did a great job. Dad, she did a great job. But Jocelyn, they may have any questions. So do you have any questions for Jocelyn?
Well, I would say I have lots of school spirit. I love going to Muncie Central. I couldn't imagine going anywhere else. I just love the energy in the building and how hard our administration and our teachers work for us and just a lot of the students in the school. There's a group of us who work very hard to be the right representation for Muncie Central, and I appreciate that a lot.
What was it about coming to Ball State?
So both of my parents work at Ball State, so I would get 90% of my tuition.
Good answer.
That's a good answer.
Do you plan on playing sports, volleyball?
No, not right now. I have decided to retire.
Well, you picked a great school to go to, by the way. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's awesome. Great. Okay. Dr. Kwiatkowski is not here, and Dr. Reynolds is in the seat.
In the hot seat, literally tonight. I'm so, a little sweaty. Whew. Hey, just a few things I could share with you. We've recently been awarded a $75,000 STEM integration grant from the IDOE. We're going to dedicate those dollars to continuing to grow Project Lead the Way. We're looking at possibly even K. We expand down to first grade right now, but maybe even down to kindergarten through the high school, making sure we have our folks trained up and all the best supplies for all of our schools. But we're really excited about that. Ball Brothers Foundation, we recently received a $450,000 Ball Brothers Foundation grant. Just, I cannot say enough about how tremendous of a partner the Ball Brothers Foundation is and how much their dedication to the Muncie Community Schools and the Muncie community means. This grant will focus on improving comprehensive counseling, pre-K to 12 innovation, our outdoor education program at Camp Adventure, improving and bolstering our extracurricular and co-curricular opportunities, curriculum and improvements, and our career and technical education opportunities with Muncie Community Schools and the Muncie Area Career Center. If you have not had the opportunity to visit Muncie Central High School and see this new cafeteria, you have to do it. It is, I've spent a couple days there and a couple lunches, and I know others have. It is outstanding. It is by far the sharpest cafeteria at a high school I have ever seen. It completely changed the atmosphere of the cafeteria and that entryway to the high school. The kids walk in that first day and they really just could not believe it. Everything is refreshed and new. It looks like a college campus in there. I got a little nervous. I was there on the first day and they had a mac and cheese, build your own mac and cheese bowl line. I was a little nervous that was going to take a long time, and they got them through that super fast. The kids lined up and that line was really long and they moved them through. So not only did they make the outside look terrific, but behind the scenes, there are improvements there, serving lines, cashier lines, everything. It is outstanding. I was talking to Andy over the last week or so, and then he reminded me today. So, you know, we keep analytics on all of our social media, and this has by far been the biggest hit. I mean, typically we get, 2,000 interactions with our activities and posts, and this was a 20 higher, almost a 40,000 interactions. So, I mean, it is tremendous. So something that our kids deserved and needed, and something our kids and our community can be proud of. Speaking of athletics, we've wrapped up all of our fall athletic seasons. We had some tremendous growth through all of our seasons this year, and now we've kicked into all of our winter sports. I would like to congratulate the boys and girls cross country team. They advanced on to regionals as a team. We had one young man, good looking, smart. Yeah, very much so. Takes after his mom. Got to compete at the semi-state last week and represented Muncie Central very well. So we're very, very proud of all of our athletes from the fall sports and gearing up for all of our winter sports. I think they're all in full swing now, either through conditioning or full-blown practices. Fall concerts and programs with our arts are happening. I think we kicked off with Northside Middle School a couple weeks ago, maybe just before break, and I got to see Principal Williams play the drum set and an art teacher play bass, and it was a great concert. We're gearing up for veterans programs. I think there is a combined side-by-side concert at the high school with some of our musicians and America's Hometown Band. Nope, not the hometown band, the Indiana Chamber Orchestra. So just another tremendous opportunities for our kids. And finally, looking ahead, mark your calendars. We have our December 4th Community Sing back home again at the historic Muncie Fieldhouse with new improved sound system. So that will be an exciting day. So pencil that in on your calendar. We will get you some invitations here real soon. We've already reached out to Steve Lindell. Steve Lindell is back. I emailed him and asked him if he would still be willing to MC, and he said, "You had me at in person." So he's very excited about getting back in, and I cannot thank him for enough for being that face at the community sing. I think that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Any questions at all? You good? Any public comments tonight? Okay. All right, let's move to the consent agenda. Do we have any questions about any of the items there? If not, I'll entertain a motion. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. Mr. Derone.
Thank you. Included in your board packet first, among several things I have tonight, is the financial report for the results of September 2022. Obviously, we're on a calendar year basis, so we're 9 months into the calendar year, so we're almost at the end of December where we take the snapshot and get the actual fund balances. So starting to become really exciting as we try to balance all the funds and make sure we have enough appropriations and all the fun stuff we do in the business office to make that happen. So anyway, we're happy to report we still get our state basic grant. It was $3.6 million in the month, still based upon our enrollment of 4,861, which was down 39 students from February. We expect the state basic grant funding to go up or down based probably it will affect us probably in November and December. It hasn't changed yet based on our enrollment count that we reported. Payroll running about 2.6 million for the month. That's reflecting a higher payroll because we had raises and we passed out the pandemic stipends. Did not have any debt payments in the month of September because we only pay our large long-term debt payments in June and December. Cash balance still very strong at the end of September, a little over 35.3 million, still expecting a strong balance by the end of the year, and still expecting a surplus, if you will, in the education fund also at the end of December, expecting that to be over 17 million. We continue to pay back our state loan. That's down to 10.6 million. And we're also at the time of year we're expecting to receive property taxes in November and December. We'll probably receive the portion of the levy will probably be close to, probably collect about 10.7 million this year. So probably a little over 4 million to go to receive. Some of those additional things I provide in your board packet is just how I split out the fund balances for you. If you saw that, Dr. Reynolds mentioned food service. the food service balance, 2.3 million at the end of September. That will go down in the month of October. We'll be paying for all that work that happened, about 1.6 million in the cafeteria, the food service lines. Tremendous project in that cafeteria. We had to do that. We had to have a spend down plan. The DOE school nutrition said our balances was too high in food service, so you have to spend it towards your facility, your food service lines. So very proud to make those improvements. And I went to a food service meeting in Connersville last week, and they can't wait to come see it. They're getting ready to do the same thing with the same architect and the same design at their school as well. So it is really buzzing. So I'm really pleased to report that. Some of those other charts and graphs, as we just point out, for our cash is always a little bit concerned. Operation fund, that's the one I'm always really tight as we get down close to the end of the year. About 2.6 million of spending is all that's left in those appropriations at the end of September, but we have a plan to manage that. So that's my maybe extended financial report for the month of September, but any other questions, or I'll move on to the next.
You say with the total head count for this is 585, what was it like last year?
It was probably about 560. We're up about 25 to 30, and that was planned. Some of that was planned with additional funds from the state. We were able to add additional staffing for teachers, we had some additional grant monies, we had additional instructional assistants, because that was also part of the deal when you have 45% of your spending on the state basic grant has to go towards teachers. It can go towards more salaries or go towards more headcount as well. So that's kind of a two-headed strategy there with that too. So it was a planned, it's very counterintuitive. Normally you're trying to make your staffing go down, but the new funding formula is allowing you to treat that a different way.
In our school loan, state loan, I mean, I see you pay that, are we, is that, you stay on that?
I'm staying on task on that so far, and hopefully like to start paying extra if I can in 2023. If not, we'll stick to the original plan where it's all paid off by 2028. We still have enough money right now where we could pay the whole thing back tomorrow if we needed to, but there's no real incentive to do that. It was an interest-free loan, but we have been able to set money aside in rainy day. So.
Any other questions? Do we need a motion there?
I don't have to.
Don't
Just
have to?
for the
Okay.
report. The next thing, I will need a motion. I'm asking permission to advertise for an additional appropriation for the rainy day fund. I'm asking the school board permission to advertise for additional appropriation in rainy day in 2022. What we'll do is, due to unexpected capital repair items in the district that normally would have been spent from operation fund, plus any authority to spend funds from a rainy day to pay back the state loan, we're asking permission to spend up to another $1 million for this additional appropriation. The funds are available in rainy day. Fund 800 balance, we had 10.8 million in that fund at the end of the month. We expect to set aside $3 million. It could be more than that in rainy day by the end of this year. So I'm asking board permission to do this. Why am I doing this? It's going to help. It's going to have a lot less pressure on myself to make sure we can fit within those operation fund appropriations by the end of December. And if you're asking, well, why is that a problem? Well, we specifically cut our spending in operation fund this year because of our reduction in property taxes that we receive in operation fund. So that's been my challenge. And I'm balancing that off against sometimes the rainy day fund to make it all fit. And we're still, so far, been able to do that. This gives me a little bit more cushion or availability to do that by asking for this permission.
Great. Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hold same sign.
And for clarity, Brad, we're appropriating our own funds.
Right.
I'm appropriating money that's
Yeah.
already there.
I just think that's an
Yeah.
important distinction, that we're not
I'm not raising-
asking for more money
No.
from anybody.
I'm
We're-
not raising taxes.
We're moving it,
The
right.
money's already there. The balance is already there. Just don't, if I don't have the approval to spend it from the board, I can't spend it. And then we'll show it by the end of December to the DLGF, and they'll say, okay, you got the permission to spend it, so you can. So,
Wanted that clarity.
thank you. I'll keep going.
Keep going.
Lunch prices, for adult lunch prices, it's always, probably, got this information in September. Normally would probably had it in September to bring to the board. We're asking school board permission to set these adult lunch prices for this school year. And they've been able, as you see listed here, adult prices for staff and guests will need to be increased 25 cents per meal. The adult breakfast price will increase by 20 cents per meal. And I'm asking permission to approve these. And this has all been calculated to maintain our eligibility with the USDA, the Entitlement Food Service Program. So what you have listed there is the adult prices that are changing. No change for any children because that's all free. There's still no charge for elementary students, middle school or high school students. Obviously, if the high school students go through the a la carte line, they do have to pay for that, but for the basic meal, they do not. So once again, this is really just my annual trip to the school board after Stephanie and the group from Chartwell's who are keeping us proper with the food service rules to say, well, we have to make sure the formula is high enough. So that's why I'm asking permission to raise it just a small bit for this school year.
It's amazing with the rising costs, you can keep those costs down that low. It's amazing.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, just asking for permission to approve those prices.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Hold same sign. Thank you. Administrator compensation.
Yes, the compensation committee met consistent with how we've evaluated, starting with teachers early in the year, then earlier this year, and then the staff and professional staff, and now the administrators. We do this following count day, so we have a little better picture of how we're looking moving forward. Dr. K, Dr. Reynolds, and Brad, along with Dia, worked through the evaluation of compensation for all of our administration. Considered multiple things: performance, market, as we have with our other groups, as well as equity within the system. And so what is listed is the recommendations from the compensation committee. Is made up of Leanne or Dr. K and Mark and Keith and I. And I would make a motion for the approval of those salaries for this academic year.
Second. Thank you. It's moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Medical insurance renewal.
Okay, thank you. Once a year also, included in your board packet tonight, I have the recommendation for 2023 for medical insurance, dental and vision insurance premiums and carriers for the 2023 calendar year. I'll be asking approval of the motion, and basically what we've done for this process, we're requesting permission to renew with our current medical insurance carrier, Unified Group, for medical plan A and for dental as vision for 2023, and also the recommendation, it's from our insurance consultant, R.E. Sutton and Associates. This also includes the new medical plan B, which we included last year as a brand new plan. This particular recommendation does illustrate an overall 6% increase for medical insurance premium, which we have split that. I've split that where it's a 3% increase for the employee and a 3% increase for the contribution for the school corporation. And that's the process that's We took the most minimum increase that we could based on expected claims and where we have been running. What that works out for an individual on a single plan, if they're on Plan A, that would be an annual increase of $26. If they're on a single plus one plan, that's an increase of $127. A family plan, that's an increase of $160. So it's a minimal increase. We hated to do it. We still have, in this day and age of trying to keep your claims managed, we're just running just about 1% over the expected claims. We have a $1.6 million self-insurance balance with our insurance company, Unified Group. And that's why the recommendation was to stay the same. Probably next year, we would take the recommendation from our consultant and go to the marketplace and maybe go and see what else is out there in the marketplace. Currently, we're self-funded. We have been with the Unified Group since 2019, since the kind of the reorganization of Muncie Schools. So that's I guess kind of the history on that a little bit. So,
Brad, this does not include any plan changes, correct?
no plan changes.
Okay.
And in fact, we've now got when we started in 2019, we had a stop loss was $500,000. Okay, that's pretty high. So like if you have one accident or if someone has one occurrence claim, it could be $500,000 for each person. We've now got that down to like $300,000. Okay, as stop loss. So we've gotten better with our claims. We've gotten better with the premiums of what we're paying for that fixed cost on that insurance. We're considered self-funded. Self-funded gives us a lot more flexibility than being fully funded. So we're making the right trend. In the marketplace this year, what happened down in Florida seeps over into medical insurance coverage too, because it's insurance, okay? And we don't want to see large increases per year. I'd hate to see that. The consultants usually always say, take a little bit of an increase each year. That way you don't get hit with a large one all at one time. This was about as small as we could do, is why we did it.
Just to clarify, the stop loss for the school corporation, I understand we've reduced, but the plan provisions for the participants have not changed.
That is absolutely right.
Okay.
Plan provisions
Okay.
for our employees have not changed. So we're still the same benefits.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And to be clear, it's not because claims are up by much, it's because just costs are up.
Costs are up.
Costs are up.
And anytime our consultants can tell us, well, you're running just about where you expected to be. What's really bad if you're getting ready to go into renewal and you're running 15% or 20% higher than expected. Then those future high-priced actuarial people who work for the insurance companies who help set the rates based on probabilities, they're going to say, you're going to have to increase your premiums. That's just a little plug for actuarials. That's what it is. So anyway, that would be in a worse position of renewal if we had higher claims running. So hopefully we'll be just about matched, just about right for this next year. And so because of that, we offer open enrollment to our employees from the middle of the month of about November 9th to about the middle of December. We're going to use American Fidelity. They're the company that's going to help us with the open enrollment this year to meet with our employees and try to help explain all the benefits. That was a question we had heard with new teacher orientation with Dr. Bell, and new teachers sometimes feel rushed when they sign up for things. So now we'll have a little more hand-holding approach, if you will, maybe better than us trying to explain it to our employees. So we're going to go through this for all our employees who are eligible for benefits during open enrollment. They'll have a chance to talk to someone about their benefits here with Muncie Schools.
Brad, can I ask why it wasn't shopped in the marketplace?
We didn't do it. We didn't do it this particular year based on what the consultant recommendation was. He just felt like if you do it every year and then you don't switch, then you're not gonna get good results. We hadn't done it in 3 years, and we haven't usually done it every year. So we come to that milestone next year, it's probably time to do it again.
So we don't know actually the lowest, it's just Unified's lowest.
That's Unified's lowest. That's what we have, right?
Any other questions, comments? I just want to say, I'm going to go on record, that I appreciate your enthusiasm with all these numbers. I mean, steady as she goes, but at the same time, I can sense your excitement about all these numbers.
Well, it's, I think I've described it to someone, it's like being on a tightrope without a net. That's what a school business manager job is. You have to really know your numbers as you go towards the end of the school year on a variety of these topics. And it's just, it's scary, but yet it's very challenging, and we're just trying to get it right. And we're really happy with the performance of Muncie schools so far financially in these last, not only this past calendar year, but the trend that what we're doing these last 4 years since I've been here. It's trending the right way. So I'm glad I have this enthusiasm, because when it's not going this way, you're not as enthusiastic. Because then you come to the school board with criteria for cuts and things that aren't as fun, so.
But the critical nature of that trending is, it helps us be able to invest other places. And so, so what you do should never be taken for granted, because it gives us the optionality that we need to do other things. And not perfect, but it's pretty good. So,
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move approval.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, so we have 6 or 5 for approval, 1 non-approval, right? 5 or 1. That is noted. All right, next item, dialogue of the board. Anybody have anything that they want to discuss at this point? Any media questions? Anybody from media here? All right.
We have one meeting next month.
Yeah. Great. Okay, one meeting. All right. Motion to adjourn, maybe? Maybe? So moved. Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thanks again for the blankets.
Yes, thank you very much.
That's really nice.
I walked in, I said, ooh, I don't need this today.
Thank you, everyone.